Hello everyone, it's Mikhail. Haven't been uploading much recently, but it's the time of month to do another update summary. And this time I'm going to cover a bit of everything, not just the unit updates, but they'll be in there. So anyway, first off, we have a new boss fight in the combat simulator. Only a boss fight though. The other two combat sims are not modified at all by this. They're the same ones they've been. We get the Queen Mantha or Queen Mansa or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Um, it's our first boss battle in space, but unfortunately the rewards are pretty lacking. Only 2 parts that most veterans will have by now and a couple of tokens. So nothing too exciting, but it's worth doing for the tokens at least. We have a bunch of changes to raid mobile suits that I will cover in the I will cover when we go on to the unit adjustments. You can now set it so that AI targets in free practice will not be destroyed. So you can use that to practice combos or just to get damage numbers without having to worry about killing them. Some minor changes. The Spring Festival is starting. Base camp looks a little different. You get a free weekly 10 pull with a guaranteed 3-star. And there are some limited missions going on. And our new suit this week is the Jigen. We're finally getting into the Char's Counterattack, people. This opens up a lot of exciting new stuff. But from what we've seen, the Jigen seems to be... It's a little bit more than a standard Blue Zuka, but we'll have to see some exact numbers to know really where it stands. Maybe if it has head Vulcans on par with the Gundam Mark II, maybe it'll have a shot at being something. Let's see. Yeah, that seems to be it for here. The Spring Festival suit. Let me click over to here. The Spring Festival suit is the GM Sniper Custom Missile Launcher equipment. So yeah, that was in the previous battle operation, so now it's making the jump over here. It's admittedly not the most exciting new suit, but it's going to be interesting. Certainly a well-armed support of having both missile launchers and a sniper rifle. Although I wonder if it's going to end up being too similar to the gun cannon. It might be very much like the gun cannon, but we'll see. Anyway, on to the unit adjustments. First off, the unit adjustments are now going to be based on the performance of players from A- to S- rather than B to S-. Yeah, so that's a thing. Anyway, first up, the Dovin Wolf has its damage control level 1 removed. Although from the looks of it, it's only being removed from the level 1 version, because the level 2 version is pretty much on par with its win rate. Which makes sense. There are a lot of things that can accumulate stagger very easily at 650. So having the damage control isn't as impactful there. But yeah, so this will make the Dovin Wolf a little easier to deal with at 600. Next up, the GBO2 gets another buff. Man, anyone who played around launch remember when this thing was freaking everywhere? It was so common that I made a meme of it constantly knocking down its teammates, but now it's just completely fallen from grace. But anyway, it actually is one of the better Bluzuka suits, so I'm glad to see it getting buffed. Specifically, it gained increased damage boost, better thrusters, better directional movement. The lunging slash on the beam saber got a damage buff. And here's the interesting one. The beam rifle had its power increased from 1200 to 1500. That is a 25% damage boost, which is very, very nice. And we'll hopefully get more people using that very useful little backup weapon of it. It's now on par with many primary beam rifles, I think, at this point. Next up, the Zaku 3 got a buff. Mostly defense focused. Its range resistances increased from 15 to 20. I know someone who will be very happy about that. You know who you are. I know you're watching this. You are happy about that. And then it also got a hit point boost of an extra 1,000 hit points at level 2. And the level 2 also gained an extra 5 points of melee damage boost. The head beam cannon had its stagger rate increased. And then the 2 skirt guns now deal a little bit more damage, a little less heat, and they don't stall you as long. It's a very good buff for any of you who really like the Zaku 3, but found it just too fragile for you. And you get some nice other buffs with it too. Next up, the Byerland. Now, this is a suit that I have not seen very much of, and there's probably a reason for that. In fact, there's definitely a reason for that. Its performance is pretty lacking. And it always struck me as a suit that I might kind of like, because there definitely seems to be some potential there, but it's all kind of hidden in between the lines of all its different weapons. But anyway, it gained an extra 5 points of thrusters, very useful considering it's a flying suit. The shoulder buffer got increased from level 2 to level 3. And the level 2 version received an extra 1,000 hit points. Its primary weapon had its heat rate reduced from 15% to 12%, which is good. That overheated in like 8 shots, and it was a rapid-fire focused weapon, so this will hopefully improve the damage output on that a bit. And then the main beam saber is now slightly stronger and equips faster. And the level 2 version of the twin beam sabers now deals additional damage as well. Next up, the Gapthly, one of those suits that I never see very good performance out of. Now it has a bit more hit points and it's a bit faster. And it also did get some buffs to its transformed state, slightly cooler on the Theta Yin and faster fire rate. The faster fire rate, we'll get to that. But here's something interesting. The twin mega particle cannons had their heat rate reduced from an instant overheat to 95%. That is very helpful. Let's see. Hammurabi also got some more hit points. It gained a bit more melee damage at level 2. And its Sea Serpent now cools down faster. It's a very small buff. Oh yeah, we're on to raids now. There aren't a lot of non-general alterations to this month. See, we're already on to supports. The ever underwhelming Full Armor 7th Gundam received a damage boost for level 2 and 3, and as for both the beam rifle and the grenade launcher, and that's literally it. Yeah, there's not much to say. It's apparently doing all right. I'm assuming that's because very few players are using the Mega Launcher on it. Quick tangent, for those of you not aware, the Mega Launcher has an effective DPS, once you factor in the charge time, of 375. That is about on par with the most basic Vulcans in the game. If you are firing the mega cannon, and it's not like you had a team wipe and had lots of time to charge it, you are better off literally just running at them and firing your Vulcans. That is how underwhelming the damage is for the amount of time it takes. Anyway, weapon adjustments. The Theta Yin rifle got its cooldown time reduced from 1 second to 0.8 seconds. Another little buff for the Gapthly and the Hammurabi. And now the big thing this month is that all raid units got a bit of a buff. So the thruster consumption while starting a boost movement is reduced from 20% to 15%, whereas the thruster use while transforming is reduced from 25% to 20%. So this will hopefully this will give raids a bit more overall maneuverability. I feel like they should explicitly put this as a skill that they're giving to these suits, but oh well. It's a nice little buff for these raid suits, especially when they're so reliant on maneuver armor for defense. Additionally, all ground raid units are getting the skill Assault booster. Let's see. Yeah, it's let's see. Yeah, it is basically a massively buffed version of Quick Boost. All raids are getting at least level 1, which reduces the accumulation time by 40% and increases the jump speed by 30%, and also it reduces the effects of stagger on you while jumping. And then suits that already had quick boost level 3 get the level 2 version of assault booster, and suits that had level, I think it's confusing. I'll have to look more, but yeah, basically every raid now has a version of quick boost that is superior to the old version, and also includes the fall deterrence control. So it's now a lot easier to get up to supports on ledges. Basically, that's the takeaway from this. And then maneuver armor level 2 got a big buff in that the stagger reduction while boosting is reduced from 5% to 20%, which means that it now takes from around 105% stagger to 125% stagger. What's really interesting is that the Bolanoke Saman has this combined with damage control level 3, so now while boosting it will take the equivalent of 250% stagger accumulation to knock that thing out of its fucking boost. That's really nice for Bolanoke Saman players, isn't it? So, oh yeah. Yeah, no, actually that's it. There was something in the lead up about if the enemy team has a large number of units that you're weak to, you will receive reduced damage from those units. But there's nothing in the update itself about that, so I'm not sure what the status is on that. Yeah. Anyway, lastly for this month's news, we have premium login bonuses. The early bonus is the Gundam Mark III, a pretty good if somewhat underused suit. The mid-month bonus is the Asimar, which is a thing, I guess. There's some very good pilots with it, but it's a very niche suit. And then finally, late in the month, we get the Gym Night Seeker 2 as the guaranteed, or as the premium login bonus. Which is interesting because that was originally a clan mission suit. So it's in the rotation now, but it'll make that suit that was rather rare, hopefully a little bit more common. Anyway, that's finally it for this month's update. I will see you all on the battlefield.